It's time for the Unexplained News. Extraterrestrials, time anomalies, dimensions, remote viewing, UFOs, UAPs, and USOs, ghostly encounters, abductions, Bigfoot, and more. Your end of the week news source for everything unexplained. Here is your host for the Unexplained News podcast, Margie Kay.
Good evening and welcome to Unexplained News. I'm your host, Margie Kay. And this evening, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I am going to give you some information about some rather strange things that have happened recently, some weird news. And then I'm going to be doing some remote viewing. I'm going to explain what remote viewing is and how I do it to the best of my ability so that you will know what it is and my method, the basics as far as that's concerned. And we're even going to try some remote viewing testing. And this will actually work on the recorded session as well. Believe it or not, it does work. So without further ado, let's get into it. I've got a couple of weird news stories I had to tell you about. Now, we put one up on the blog. These are both going to be in the upcoming Unexplained News magazine. The first one is about a man who saw two Nordic ETs at the Maya ruins. And this came to me from Mary Joyce. She said Michael Johnson has been surfing since he was 10 years old, and his passion for riding the waves has taken him to the shores of many countries. In the 1980s, when he and a friend were on the coast of Belize, they decided to travel inland to visit the Maya ruins at Tikal, Guatemala. They experienced so much more than they ever expected. We just happened to arrive there when a big full moon ceremony was going on, Michael explained. It was kind of a magical place and real primitive then. Just before sunset, we climbed up Temple 4, which is the highest structure in Tikal. A lot of people were up there, a sundown party almost. So the sun goes down and the full moon pops up, and the triple canopy jungle about 120 feet below us came alive with animals, birds, flocks of toucans, and monkeys. It was all so enchanting. We were the last ones to leave. As we were climbing down the pyramid, here come the guards. They asked us, is anyone else up there? We said, yeah. As the guards climbed up to the pyramid, we took off to the jungle and hid. We were supposed to be out of there by then, but we stayed at the ruins all night taking photos. As it was getting toward sunrise, we were sitting in the Plaza Major thinking we should leave when animals from the jungle, small foxes, marsupials, started coming out of the jungle and checking us out. I guess they felt we were no threat. When we looked over one of them, we saw two very tall Nordic ETs, a male and a female, walking towards us. It wasn't like they were actually walking or hiking. They were gliding along towards us. They obviously knew we were there, but they made no attempt to look at us or acknowledge us. They just glided around us. They were there. They were about 7 feet tall. The man and the woman both had long silver blonde hair. Their clothing was almost like plain Guatemalan clothes, maybe to better blend in. They were definitely different. After the couple disappeared behind the ruins, my friend and I looked at each other and we both said, "Wow, did you see that?" Why they made their presence known to us, I don't know, but I have had an interest in UFOs since I saw my first one in Wilmington, North Carolina, when I was 14 years old. And of interest to me is that the Nordics seem to be making their presence known more as of late. As my audience knows, I do a lot of readings for people. I do 9 to 12 readings for people a week. And as of late, and I would say in the past 4 to 5 months, there have been a number of Nordics show up during the readings. And these are guardians, if you will, or guides, and they are with the people I'm doing a reading for, and the people might actually be related to the Nordics. They could be star seeds, but this has just been more prevalent lately, so I'm taking note of that. It's just something different. Okay, next up, my second story I'm going to tell you about is quite interesting, and this just hit the news yesterday on May 1st. According to a Daily Star report, Prince Philip spotted a Bigfoot at the family's summer retreat at Balmoral Castle. Balmoral is a large estate house in Aberdeenshire, Scotland, near the village of Crathie. The estate covers 53,000 acres of land and includes forestry, farmland, herds of deer, highland cattle, sheep, and ponies. The location would be prime for Sasquatch. It is unclear as to when the sighting occurred. The prince died at the age of 99 in April of 2021. UFO investigator Mark Christopher Lee was recently given this information by a Buckingham Palace source. Lee has created many documentary films, including The King of UFOs and God vs. Aliens. He plans to investigate Prince Philip's sighting further. And there's an interesting 40-minute video called The Secrets of Balmoral Castle, British Royal documentary that's available on YouTube that I found. So I thought that those were both very interesting stories as of late. And now we're going to get into the remote viewing part of this. First, I'm going to explain my method. And you probably know the story about how I got an enhanced X-ray vision by Val Thor in 1985. But I've always been psychic. I've always used my third eye, my psychic center. But in 85, I got a big boost by Val Thor. And that's been out there a lot. You probably have already heard that story. So I'm not going to get into that too deeply. And so shortly after that, I began continuing my readings for people, but it was a lot different. I could now see the bone structure. It was as if I was inside the human body. And when I do it now, that's how it is. If I want to look at something and focus on it, say a disc in the spine or the stomach or, whatever it is, I'll focus on it and I will see it. So I will see what it looks like. And in some ways, I may not know what I'm looking at because I don't have medical training, but I will know if there's a problem, and it will also be pointed out to me by that person's higher self, their subconscious, their guides. Sometimes they'll actually speak to me and a word will appear right in front. For instance, the other day I did a reading for a person and they had a certain problem it was a serious problem. And I saw the word parasites in gold right in front of my face, in front of the person, and just lit up. So that was a strong message. The person has parasites. And they told me that they had just had a parasite cleanse, a very deep parasite cleanse. But I said, no, they're not gone. They're digging in this one certain place in your body, and you really need to address that again. And then the word wormwood came up. And of course, you may know that is typically used to kill parasites. So that's kind of how it works. What I do is focus on an area, and also I can focus on time. So if something happened in the past, let's say a person had a car accident and they're having symptoms of that now, when I look at the person and I see the problem, which usually occurs with the back, I will actually see the accident that they had. Either they had a fall when they were 5 years old, or they were in a car accident and hit from the side. And so I'll see what happened, and honestly, I do not understand the mechanics of how this works. I just know it does work. And it's all about focusing on something and wanting to see the answer, basically. So I've also helped a number of UFO investigators, paranormal investigators around the country, around the world, actually, when they are stumbling into a problem that they just simply can't figure out. Or they just want to know if something indeed happened. I will remote view by hearing the person's name or the location or both, and that's all I need. And I'll just be there at that time. And I'm standing there watching the scene unfold. And then I will explain what I'm looking at, and usually in great detail. I see it not as some remote viewers only get shapes or maybe a feeling of temperature or some color, but for me, it's a video. It's in HD. Okay, but I'm actually there because I can feel things. I can hear people talking. I can hear noises. I can feel wind. I'm actually there. So I believe what's happening is my etheric body is leaving through my solar plexus and going out to the location and then looking at it. And so one of the things that I do is help people find lost objects. Now, I'm not going to just look at every single thing somebody loses, but if it's something very major, like their car keys or a ring or something that's very important to them, then I will take the time to do that. And then here's the other thing. Things that have an emotional attachment, a deep emotional attachment, are much easier to find, and it's also much quicker for me to do. So there's got to be some emotion around an event or something for me to see it. And I should also say there are some tricksters out there and hoaxers, and I've actually been set up by a couple of radio talk show hosts, and they made things up. It was fake. So the answers are not going to be correct. Okay. They're going to be what that person might be thinking about. But they've faked the situation, and so it's a setup. If it's fake, I'm not going to get an answer because there isn't anything. Okay. So I am going to take questions this evening. So if you have a question, you're going to have to put it in the chat. So if you are listening to the live show right now on audio only, you might want to hop over to YouTube, look up Unex Network, and then my show, Unex News, and join the chat, and you can ask questions tonight. And we're also going to do a little practice, and I'm going to just explain a simple way to remote view and let you practice it tonight. So we're going to have some fun. And so let me go a little bit more into how I remote view, because I want you to try this method. If you're a remote viewer, you might be doing it a different way. And there are different methods out there. And this is not, excuse me, the controlled remote viewing method. It's not CRV. That the military uses. It is what I call natural remote viewing. So what I do is get into a light meditative state, very relaxed, and since I've done this for 40 years, I can be instantly in that state of mind. For some people or most people, it will probably take a few minutes for you to get into a meditative state. And you just want to take a few deep breaths, be in a quiet place, relax, and concentrate on your solar plexus. Because what we're going to do is ask for our etheric body to go out of our solar plexus and travel out, follow the cord, follow the line. It's not the astral body. The astral body, for most people, only gets out of the physical body if the physical body is completely asleep. So this is not that. This is the light etheric body, but you can still feel things and smell and taste, just like I said earlier. You follow the line to the target. So what is the target? It could be an address. It could be a missing person. which I don't recommend you do to start off with. Um, uh, Dangerous things like that. Don't go down that road. Finding something lost or finding, let's say you're lost in the middle of the woods, you could find your way out using this method. Okay, you can find the best path. You could find water. There's just any number of things that can be done. So we're just going to have some fun with that a little bit later. And so after getting into that state and then having to focus on a target, let's say it's an address, I will be there instantly. So it doesn't take long. When you're in that state of mind, the location doesn't matter. And I mean literally any location. It could be on planet, it could be off planet, the moon, Mars, whatever. And you're just there. It's that fast. And also, I should say as well that I've been noticing that the ETs around people lately, when I'm doing reading for them, travel that way in their etheric body or their astral body because I see them, but they're transparent. And if they're transparent, that means they're in another dimension, a higher dimension. And they can be from Andromeda, from Sirius, places that are just so far away you can't even imagine or fathom that. And they're there in an instant if you're thinking about them. They will just show up and be around the person that they're looking over or that they're related to. It's pretty amazing. But anyway, we can do that too. Humans are pretty amazing too. I believe that all human beings have the ability to do remote viewing. I seriously do. I've had a lot of people take my courses. And in fact, I recently developed an on-demand remote viewing course. So a person could take it at their own pace. And that's on my website at margiekay.com if you want more information about that. So the course goes into great depth. But tonight, we're just going to play around with it and have some fun. And just realize that anybody can do this. If you can't do it immediately, don't worry about it. Just keep practicing. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a couple of questions out of the chat. Okay. Becky says she's lost a set of keys. Okay. Becky McClellan, that is the thing I need. I need to hear a name or a place. Okay, if you don't want to give your name, you can just tell me what city you're in. All right, Becky, I'm going to go ahead and tune into you. And I'm seeing red on the keys. So if that's correct, let me know. Post that in the chat. In the meantime, also tell me what city you're in so that I can zone in a little bit better. I just need a little more information, and we'll try to get that back. Okay, so I've got a comment from XNV. Can you demonstrate this ability with a skeptical observer who isn't themselves participating? Yes, I can. Just hang out and just take a watch here, okay? I've done this many, many times in front of big audiences too. Okay, got a question. All right. Becky says not red with the keys. Okay, so and you told me what city you're in, so now I'm going to take a look again. Okay, I'm sensing outside, not inside a house. They're outside of the building. They're in the outdoors, and I see a vehicle. They're, I believe, on the ground next to a tire is what I'm seeing. So, Becky, check that out and see what you've got. I think it's a truck or an SUV. It's pretty big. Might not be your vehicle, but I think it's close to you, close to your house. So we'll see what happens there. Okay. And Carl says, you and I have so much in common. Yes, we do. I know Carl very well. What is our connection? Oh, I've got to go into a light trance here. Carl, we have had several lifetimes together. Okay, multiple lifetimes. And I see us in a battle fighting together a long, long time ago because the uniforms look Roman. Oh boy. Yeah, we were both men at that time. And there's some swords involved. And also, I'm hearing that's why you and I were attracted to military in this lifetime. Interesting. We probably had several lifetimes together. All right. And then question 2, I lost my father's wedding ring on a police arrest. Oh, can you find it? Okay. Your low reading skills. Carl, you're a really good remote viewer. What are you talking about? All right. But, and, I'm glad that he brought this up because the other thing about remote viewing is that the further you are in the connection to the person who wants a question answered, the better. So if you don't know the person, it's faster, and remote viewing for yourself is usually pretty difficult. Although I've done it many, many times, but it takes a little longer. Let's put it that way, because there's always some bias. My left brain wants to kick in and try to overthink it when it's about myself. So that's more difficult. But Carl, I am going to work on that. Probably, I think tonight when I can go into a deeper trance, because you and I know each other so well, it's going to take me a little longer. But you know what? Actually see someone else with it. Someone else has it, picked it up, put it in their pocket. Oh boy, hope it's not another policeman. Most likely one of the bad guys. Okay. Okay, so Becky just chimed back in, okay? These are the keys. She says RV. Does that mean you found them next to your RV, or you have one and you haven't looked outside yet? Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to take a short break here. And when we come back, that'll give you a chance, Becky, to go check out if your RV is on your property. Maybe you can find it. And we'll see what happened. And then when we come back, we'll do some more readings, and then we'll do a little bit of testing. So we'll be back right after these messages.
The Unex Network presents a health and wellness spiritually based brand of hemp-derived CBD products made by Hopewell Farm in Harrogate, Tennessee. We apply our Kathara energy work with all of our plants and products. Our products made in small batches with only 2 ingredients of pure hemp, full-spectrum crude oil, and coconut-derived MCT oil. Third-party lab-tested for potency and legal THC levels with 6 strengths of 1 ounce oil to choose from. Know what you're buying and get what you pay for from Hopewell Farm. Applied directly to a specific area, Hopewell Farm topical salve in 1 ounce and ½ ounce sizes made with pure hemp crude oil, comfrey extract, and all natural ingredients. Find the Hopewell Farm link and coupon code on the Unex Network website at unexnetwork.com. That's unexnetwork.com.
Tickets are now on sale for Rebels of Disclosure 2025, May 12th through the 15th in Grafton, Illinois at the beautiful Pierre Marquette Lodge and Conference Center. This will be a 4-day event with 12 speakers covering topics such as ET contact, experiencer testimonies, lost history, secret space programs, time travel, Illuminati, parallel realities, and so much more. Visit journeytotruth.online for more details.
And we're back. I'm Margie Kay, and this is Unex News. And tonight we're discussing remote viewing. And if you'd like to join us on YouTube and get in the chat, and you can ask questions. And also, we're going to do a little tryout for everybody to kind of test doing that. Okay, Carl has another question. What do you see about the death of Marilyn Monroe? Well, I have looked at this before, and I saw three very bad people who drugged her with something that would not be traceable at the time. And yeah, they were from a government agency. Let me just leave it like that. We'll just leave it that way. She knew too much. So, and yeah, let me just mention one other thing while we're on government agencies. I do not remote view any top secret locations, any air bases, anything having to do with military or government. Those are big no-nos for me. I don't want trouble. And I did find out that they have ways of tracking remote viewers and keeping them out. There are most likely some mechanical means that is able to tell if a remote viewer is there, because there is some energy involved with using one of your light bodies. Okay, so it's very, very light. It's imperceptible to most people. They probably wouldn't see it, but it is there. And yeah, okay. Looking at some of these comments. Okay, I've got all right. I lost my wedding ring. Can you see where it is? Okay. It is in a safe in a little tiny black box in a drawer in the safe. And there's another ring in the same box. So it's in the back where you haven't seen it before. Okay. All right. So let's do a little test. So try to get into a relaxed state, and you might even just close your eyes while you're listening to me. Take a few deep breaths. And I'm going to give you an address. And what you're going to do is focus on the address. Don't try to use your left brain with this. Don't try to overthink the location. If you just think about the energy of the numbers and the words, okay? And then take a look, stand outside the address, and look at the exterior of it. So I will tell you this, it's a very simple house. It is a house. It's very simple, not difficult, but there are some features on it. So I would like for you to just try that, and we'll think about that for a minute. So here is the address. Do not cheat and look it up on the internet, okay? And then draw what you see or type out what you see in the comments, and try not to look at other people's comments. And I'm just going to give you a minute to think about that. So the technique is to get in a relaxed state, concentrate on your solar plexus, concentrate on your target, follow the line out of your solar plexus. You can do it with your eyes open or closed. Follow it to that location and intend to stand in front of the house. And just take a look. You might see if you notice a color, or any particular architectural features and size. And if you get anything at all, go ahead and drop that into the comments, and you can keep working on this while I'm going to answer another question. Question is, what do you see about possible tsunami, underwater earthquakes in Japan might shake the whole of Asia? Okay. Now, this is looking into the future, which can be done, especially with major events like this. And I have seen a lot of worldwide catastrophic events, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. And as I have been doing this, like I said, for 40 years, many of these events have come to fruition. So I do know that it works. The thing is, with remote viewing, you don't always know timing. So you don't even know an exact date. Very, very rarely would a person know that who does remote viewing. But you can get a general sense. Okay. I'm looking at that. Looking at Japan. And from my observation point, what I do is I just send my etheric body out, and my third eye is looking at that and sending the visual images back to my brain. So I'm hovering over Japan right now, and I'm asking about future earthquakes, and I see a yes. There is going to be a future earthquake, and it's going to, the center of it is on the left to middle part of the island. Okay. Sorry, guys, I'm having a coughing attack. I muted myself. Okay. Now I'm going to see, yeah, the island is kind of in chaos, and there's also a wind that is coming from the west across the island. And it's a very, very high, strong wind. Wow. It happens right around the same time as the earthquake, because I see everything shaking. Now, for some reason, it's not complete destruction. There's the right side, or the east side, doesn't look as affected as the left side. And I know Japan is not a very big place, but that is what I'm seeing. There's something about a fault line. I have to look this up and see if anybody knows of a fault line going directly through the middle of the island. And I think that actually shifts, and I see a gap, a large gap. So we will see if that happens. Okay, now Carl, he's doing the remote viewing. All he gets is a bad roof. Oh, no, Carl, there was a bad roof. There was, but it's not now. Yeah, there's a new roof on it. Okay. Okay, so Carol, thank you for that comment. I appreciate it. The house looks like a small home, light green wide wood siding, bushes in front, one larger and higher than the other. Okay, Colette, you got it right with the size of the home. It's small. The color green, no, it isn't. It is more of a creamy tan color, very light tan. Light green wide wood siding, or the siding, it is wide. It's older, and there are two bushes in front, and one is taller than the other one. So hey, you're doing pretty good there. Pretty good. Is this your first time trying to remote view, or have you had a lot of practice doing it? And that's the thing. Practice makes perfect. So if you seriously want to do remote viewing, you would want to practice meditating for 10 or 15 minutes every day at the same time and get into a deep meditative state. Now, some people have trouble with that part of it. So I'm going to give you a couple of hints. Okay. First of all, you can kind of take a shortcut by using meditation music. The meditation that's music that's specifically for that, or you might look up binaural beats. Now, you do have to listen with a pair of headset, okay, to listen to binaural beats. But that will get the brain at the right frequency, because the brain will want to tune up to that frequency and get you in an altered state faster. There are some other ways that you can get there faster, and that is to take maybe some CBD an hour before you want to meditate or go to bed. It's very relaxing. CBD oil under the tongue. You probably want to use a high dose of like 2,000 milligram to do that. And I use the Hopewell Farm brand for that. And the thing about Hopewell, I'm going to tell you this. They've got fairies on their property. I remote viewed it. They didn't know they did. But a few years ago, I remote viewed it. There's fairies everywhere. They're working on those plants. So I think that's why it has such high energy. But anyway, that you could also do cannabis to get relaxed, but you don't want to be too relaxed with that, because then you won't even think about what you're supposed to be doing, meditating. Now, if you just simply cannot get into a meditative state and you've been trying for a long time, talk to a shaman who specializes in either the ayahuasca tea or psilocybin mushrooms. That low dose, not getting stoned dose, okay? A low dose. And then that will get you where you want to go. And then after you're one time doing that, you will remember how the next time, okay? So try that. You do want to be in a very quiet space with no noises. So that means no cats or dogs or husband or anybody around that could possibly make a noise and disturb your meditation, because you will not get into a deep meditative state if there's noise happening, cars or whatever. And you want to be relaxed and comfortable. So if you're having any issues with pain, that's not going to work. It's not going to happen. Either take some pain pills or wait until whatever it is. If you like sprained your ankle or something like that, you're going to have to wait until that's healed up in order to get into a deep meditative state. So that's where the magic happens, at that level of consciousness. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for a shift in vibration. And then you can focus on what you need to focus on to do remote viewing or anything else. And by that, I mean retrain your brain. And that's, that could be any subject. It could be a prosperity thing, a success thing, maybe health, maybe relationships, whatever it is that you want to work on when you're in that meditative state, that altered state of consciousness. That's where the magic happens. That's when you want to concentrate on things like that. Now, some of you, okay, and I'm going back to my chat here. Okay, Colette says the bushes were very green and the grass, and it shaded the house, which I thought was green, but I did see the beige as you said it. Okay, and poor Becky, no luck on the keys. Okay, Becky, I tell you what, I will work on that tonight, And if you shoot me an email, send an email to margiek1111@gmail.com. I will see if I can't locate those keys for you. Yeah. Doing it live on the air. I don't know. This is a new one. Now I do live conferences and large meetings, and the information usually comes in very quickly. So here's another thing. If anybody has a health problem and they want me to take a look, you can ask as well. But other people will see that. So, and that is something that I zone in on pretty quickly with health. And the reason is there's an emotion attached to that, and people usually want to get healed. So they're thinking about that all the time. Okay. So, other things about meditating is practice makes perfect. So every day, just don't miss a day, unless, like I said, you've got a pain problem. But other than that, if you practice every day, you'll get very good at it, just like anything. Being a musician, being an artist or a dancer or anything, you need practice. And I've been doing it for most of my life, so I'm good at it. Not to mention a little help from my friend Thor. And a lot of people have been asking me about the book, and yes, I am working on it right now. I'm a publisher too. I've got 3 books ahead, and those are being done very soon in the next few weeks. And then I will get back to my book about Val Thor. So that will be forthcoming. Okay, I've got a question from Colette. She says, I live in Niantic, Connecticut, and there's been numerous fires this past year in my town as well as my state. Does my town have a pyromaniac fire starter? Parks, forest, and small ones. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, Connecticut. Let me take a look here. Oh, more than one, Colette. There's more than one fire starter. There's several. They're young. They're either in their teens or 20s. And this is like a game to them. I think they're going to get caught, is the thing. I see somebody putting cameras up where you wouldn't expect cameras to be in an effort to catch this. But specifically wooded areas is what I'm seeing, or around trees as being a focus for them. But it is a group. And yeah, they're just, I can't hear the reason why this is happening, but it's like they're mad. They're very mad about something, and they want to show people. That's what I'm hearing. We'll show them. We'll show them is what I keep hearing. Wow, that's too bad. That is really, really too bad. Okay, Carl says, can I borrow Thor? No, you cannot borrow Thor. Thor has his own agenda, and he told me recently, now he's worked with people, several people. He told me recently that he is so busy trying to protect this planet right now that he is in contact with 13 people on the planet, and I'm one of them. So I have not had as much contact with him the past 3 years as prior. And I think that has to do with how busy he is trying to keep negative ETs away from the planet. And there have actually been some battles, and some people have seen them and gotten them on film, shooting things at each other. So yeah, that's another one of his main jobs. Commander Thor is in charge of a large fleet that is here to protect the planet. And So they're here to help. Okay. Another question. Oh, here we go. Colette says, a wooded area very close to my home. We were in a drought. Oh, right. Well, the drought is bad for fire, but someone is purposely setting them. Is there a possible earthquake in San Francisco Bay Area of California this summer? Okay. I'm seeing a small quake about 4.5 towards the end of the year, the last 3 months of the year, maybe September when that happens. Okay, Carl, anything new at North Farm? Oh, Carl, I'm staying away from North Farm. That location is a hot spot, a portal. There's all kinds of activity there. There's creatures coming in and out of this portal, giants, winged creatures, Bigfoot, UFOs, you name it. So no, we've had so much going on there. The homeowner hasn't been in touch with me lately, but I'm sure I could contact her. Okay. Yeah, Val Thor is cleaning up evil. He's cleaning up evil. But I'll tell you what his purpose is. He's told me his purpose, why he's here. Him and all of his commanders and ships and many thousands of beings that are with him. They are here and they contact people like me who already have their third eye open and have a certain vibration level. Then they may enhance abilities. They don't do it with everybody, but they may do that. And then whatever means that we can use, maybe, using some of each individual's talents, like mine is writing and editing and broadcasting. And he, just said, okay, first, 2010, he said, you need to start an X News magazine. I said, okay. I started that. He told me to write books prior to that. And so I wrote books on various subjects, UFOs, extraterrestrial contact, interdimensional stuff, hauntings, all of that. And I still have more in the works. And then he told me to start the Unex network. This network exists because Valiant Thor told me to do it. And the reason it is to help raise consciousness and to wake people up. And he said, all of the right shows will come to you and it will be, they'll just line up and they'll be there. And that's the way it's been. And I put Course Race Hobbs, our programming director, is in charge of the shows. And he's done a magnificent job of finding these shows, or the shows, some cases, find us. And so right now we're at a pretty good number of about 20. And I think, that's how it's going to be for a little while. And then recently he directed me to expand my show. So we're going to a 3-hour format pretty soon. And I am going to do a short news segment at the beginning about weird, unexplained news, and then an interview with someone. And then the last 30 minutes is going to be this. It's going to be open for remote viewing and, our psychic hour. And, people can ask questions during that time. So, and we're also going to have phone calls. So it'll be live comments and live phone calls on the air when we get that rolling. And I think, Val is cleaning up. He's cleaning up evil. He's got several things he's supposed to be doing that he does. And I haven't had a lot of contact with him lately because he's so busy doing that. And in fact, a few months ago, he told me to meet him at a place here in Independence, and not only me, but also my brother and my husband were supposed to go too. And I think the object was that he wanted to get us physically on the craft and get in some med beds that they have to help with our health. And this is a cool story. But it didn't work out that way. But we did go to the assigned place. My brother suddenly became ill. He couldn't go with me, but my husband did. And we parked in a parking lot right across from the RLDS temple in Independence. If you haven't seen it, it is a very out of place, modernistic spiral design with this big spiral and a antenna, radio antenna at the top with a light flashing. He told me to meet him there. So we're in the lot across the street, and this very strange man, I'm not sure if it was a man, but we'll say man, very tall, very thin, legs too long, arms are too long, and his feet were too big. It was dark. We could see the silhouette, but we couldn't really see any, facial features. And he stayed away from us, at least 50 feet, and walked beside us and then walked behind us in the parking lot and then came up to the left and went into some trees. And my husband's like, I'm getting creeped out. This is too creepy. And I'll tell you, honestly, when I first saw the man, I thought he was an extraterrestrial from Thor's ship coming to get us. But no, that wasn't the case. He also had these two little dogs with him. If you know anything about little dogs, they usually are very, very yappy. Okay? Yap, 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 yap. And not a sound out of these dogs, totally silent, which I thought was also very strange. So then the man started heading back towards us. And I said, okay, that's it. Getting out of here. Went across the street into the big lot right in front of the temple. And maybe we were about 100 feet from the temple at that point. And I looked up at the top of the temple, and here is this creepy little gargoyle-looking weird thing that peeked around the top, right underneath that spiral where the top starts to get a little bit bigger. Peeked around the corner and looked at me, went back. Peeked around the corner and went back. I said, okay, I've had enough. Let's get out of here. So we left, and I contacted Thor, and I said, what happened? Why couldn't you meet us there like you said? And he said, we had to take care of the others. So then I instantly knew what that meant. There were other ETs that had landed that were there and in craft above us, and they had to get rid of them because they were negative extraterrestrials. And if you've ever been to Independence, let me tell you, that temple is creating a portal. And there are things coming in and out of the portal ever since it was built. People have seen ETs looking in their windows, craft land in their yard, weird monkey-like creepy things going into the storm drains and vents. And I mean, UFOs over the top of the temple and the area around it. And believe it or not, I'm only 6 blocks from that temple. And I have a portal at my house, and that thing is also a portal, and it's creating a portal where anything comes in and out or crosses through, okay, from dimension to dimension. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on here. And I'm going to be asking Carl and a couple of other investigators to come over to my house this summer. We're going to do an investigation because the weirdness never stops. It just never stops. And sometime I will tell everybody, I'll put this in the book, but I will tell everybody what is actually going on here. Okay. Another question here, real quick comment. Carl says he's had reports over Lake Jacomo. More again, Carl? There have been tons of reports of UFOs. Let me take a look. Yes, I see a base in Lake Jacomo with UFOs going in and out. And when they hit the water, they make no splash. They just go into it like it was nothing, like it was air. And very fast. They're fast movers, shooting in and out. Yep, I see a base. Now, the question is the base in 5th dimension or 3rd dimension? So we're going to need to figure that one out. Oh my gosh. Well, guys, if you want to see what that, yeah, I gave you that address earlier. Okay. This address, 100 West Moore, Independence, Missouri. You can look it up on Google and go to the front, take a look at it. That is the house where Ginger Rogers was born. We bought the house. We turned it into a museum. And then COVID hit. We had no money coming in. We had to sell the house. And luckily, though, a relative of Ginger Rogers owns the house now. So that's good. But I do have an attachment to it. And yeah, so I thought that'd be a good one to look at. But you can look it up on Google if you want to test yourself. And like I said, if you're watching this later, listening to it later, go ahead and, and try that address first, try to remote view, and then take a look at it to get confirmation. Again, go to margiekay.com if you are interested in taking any of my courses. I've got a lot of courses up. Got a remote viewing course and an advanced esoteric class, a chakra balancing class, several things. So, and we've got more coming. We also have some coming from Casey Crail. She is the host of Weeds of Wisdom, and she has got a 3-part course that she has just finished, and I'm polishing it up, and we'll get that up pretty soon. Well, thank you all for joining me this evening. I hope you had a little bit of fun with it. And of course, I always do. I like remote viewing, and I will also try to see if I can find those keys. Okay. So just shoot me an email, margiekay1111@gmail.com. I'll see you here again next week.